You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 123. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where I show you how life with less alcohol is more fun than you think. I work with high achievers who struggle to drink a glass of wine without it turning into 2 bottles. I'm the one they call when they want to take it or leave it. So if you want to change your relationship with alcohol that doesn't involve counting days sober, you're in the right place. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. Now, before I take on new clients, I hold an initial call, which is free by the way, to chat about where they are and where they want to be to determine if we'd be a good fit to work together. If you know you are ready to be done with this drinking thing, then go straight away and snag your time with me. You can do that at going to 90dayslater.co and clicking on the book a call button at the top of the website. If that's you, I want you to pause this and do it right now, and then come back and listen to the rest of the episode. Now, at this initial call, this is where I talk with my clients about their drinking patterns and I get to learn about them. And something that I hear a lot is a lot of what I'll call weariness. This shows up in saying things like, I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not doing it. Or perhaps, I really don't want to drink so much. I really see it's just going to go in one direction, but nothing works and I am so fed up. Or the short version is, I'm tired of letting myself down. So I thought I would do an episode on this. Now, when you're in this place, if this is you, if this resonates, it all is going to feel fairly heavy and insurmountable. And I do remember this myself, thinking, why am I continually do this? I know I'm a capable person, and yet, the frustration, I would go into this ball of frustration. So the first thing I want you to do, the first thing I have you do is to start to make peace with where you are. That might sound a tough reach. I know it did for me. How do you do this, you might be asking? Well, you do this by acknowledging, of course, you're tired. Of course, you're feeling fed up. You are feeling stuck. So this isn't going to feel great. Added to which, you've probably been resisting cravings. You've probably been fighting. You've probably been using willpower, right? All those things that we're told works and that really doesn't, at least over the long term. So you've been doing all these things. No wonder you feel tired, right? But, and this is an important but, there's you saying the words and thinking the thought, I'm tired of letting myself down. And then there's what you make that mean about you. These are 2 different things. All right. On the one hand, there's you saying, I'm tired of letting myself down, with the subtext of judging yourself, i.e., and I really should know better, versus, I'm tired of letting myself down. Well, of course you are. It makes total sense. I'd feel tired too. Anyone would. And it also makes sense that I'm thinking I'm tired of letting myself down. I've been doing this for a long, long time. All right. Now, the first version there is very judgy, and the second is very accepting, even though the words are the same. Accepting where you are is the first step in making peace with yourself. It doesn't mean you need to be happy with where you are, but also you're not pushing yourself down further. You're not sort of kicking yourself when you're down. Now, I want to talk a little bit here about belief. And this is about how you show up. I want you to compare the idea that if you're thinking, well, this is inevitable, that no matter how I fight or push or no matter what I do, it's inevitable. At some point, I'm going to give in and go back to square one. I'm going to be there over drinking again, right? That versus it's going to be possible for me to find a way that works for me. And I'm willing to try one small different little thing in view of that. In this first scenario where you're saying it's inevitable that nothing's going to change, not only does this make it less likely that you're going to find a way forward, right? But the way you show up, the way you live your life in that moment just feels awful. It's kind of all doom and gloom. Right? It's this cloud hanging over you. This cloud is not going to go away. It is going to thunder on me in a minute. But if you work from possibility, then you're going to be open to solutions, just even a little chink of light of solution. And that's what we're aiming for, a little chink that this might be possible for me. You don't have to believe in the success, right, of what's going to happen here, but you want to try to get into this area of possibility. It just could work. It just could make a difference. And just think about how that would feel in your day-to-day life. And again, I'm not talking here about actually achieving any different results, but just how you show up for yourself is so important. It's going to determine what the experience will be like. I'm not talking here about being positive Polly. I'm not talking about saying, oh, it's so cool and fine and dandy and everything's great. No. But I'm choosing about thinking to consider that possibility is a viable way forward, which brings me to having your own back. Now, this is spoken about a lot, right? Have your own back, you're your own best friend, be there for yourself. But do you really do this? Do you really know how it feels to do this? Or do you just think this is a lot of woo-woo nonsense? But here's the question I want to pose. If you have your own back, can you ever let yourself down? Now, you may not get the results you want. Right, for sure, that happens. Right? We're not magicians here. We're not waving wands and you always get the result you want. But if you have your own back, you are there for yourself, whether you succeed or not, which means you're more likely to be ready to just keep going, because you know that whether you succeed or not, you aren't going to go into self-loathing and self-judgment. It's just a case of, that didn't work. What else can I try? Rather than there I go again, letting myself down again. If you find yourself continually saying something along the lines of I'm tired of letting myself down, what could you do about it? It's simple. First, I would look at where thinking I'm so tired of letting myself down, just think about where that has helped you in the past. Get your proof. Get a pen and paper and write it out. And by the way, when I did this, I learned that actually it's never worked for me. Even if I can go from I'm so tired of letting myself down to, okay, Anna, it's time to pull your socks up, right? That maybe seems a bit more motivational. That still never really encouraged forward movement. Because I'm talking about being tired. I'm talking about not being enough. I'm talking about having to do something to solve a situation. And when you take action from that place, it doesn't feel great. It actually, I find, does the reverse. This is weird, right? It gives me permission to go into victim mode. Sigh. I'm so tired of letting myself down. But I don't know how to do anything differently. Oh, poor me, woe me. And it doesn't move you anywhere out of, and just certainly doesn't have you taking at least forward action. Doesn't have you taking any kind of action that might help. So here's what to do instead. I want you to decide you're not going to pay any attention to that thought. You're still going to think it. If it's a habit, but you're going to decide you're not going to pay it any attention. And the more you do this, the less you are going to think it, the less you're going to notice it, until that becomes a new habit, a habit that serves you, a habit that has you having your own back and taking the action with courage and commitment. And if you think, oh, that sounds so lovely, but I just don't think I can do it, I can help. I will show you how to do this. I have exercises on this. We will practice this together. It's no big deal. You will learn, but I will have you taking that action from a place that feels much better than where you are today. To get that, you go to 90dayslater.co and click on the book a call to get on my calendar. The first call is free. We're going to talk about whether we'll be a good fit to work together, and I will build the exact plan to get you to where you want to be. This, my friends, talking with me is a surefire way for you to stop telling yourself you're tired of letting yourself down. I will be there with you every step of the way. And that is not an emotion, this letting downingness. That is not something we will wallow in ever. So get yourself on my calendar. It will change your life. And then I will see you next week. If you like what you're learning in the podcast and you want to take the work further and achieve total freedom around alcohol, let's talk. I help my clients stop reaching for that first glass of wine the moment 6 p.m. rolls around, and they don't miss out on life. Email me for more information on anna@90dayslater.co. And if you did enjoy the show, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a rating and review to help others find the 90 Days Later podcast.